Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Wrench Ride and Repeat. Today we're going to have a little story time while I run my front wheel off the gray bike out to my mechanic so he can change a tire and change some bearings. So story come to mind. I've told this story a million times. If you know me, you've probably heard it. But back in 2015 it was. I remember that year specifically. We went to a motorcycle rally in New York. It's called the Harley Rendezvous, and it's up near Schenectady. Nice, great party. A couple thousand people. Always had really good bands. It's a great time. So we get up there on a Thursday, I think, right? And we set up camp, and most people come in Thursday, Friday. So by Saturday morning, you know, the place is full. Everybody that's going to be there is pretty much there. And so we camped out. We had some fun. We had to drink some beers. And Saturday morning, they said, hey, there's a giant storm coming in, and you know, if you want to pack up and go, you should probably go now. I never saw this before in my life, but thousands of people packed up, and got the hell out of there. And I swear to God, like an hour it seemed, right? Like, well, we're breaking camp, and we're not, you know, a whole lot of stuff. So they, everybody packs up and goes, right? So we pack up and we go. We're getting on the bikes. We're all loaded up. And I said, hey, Kuda, we should probably go, like, maybe go into Schenectady and get a room for the night. You know, it was a bad storm. It was coming across Pennsylvania, it covered the whole state. And then, of course, it was coming up to New York. So, against my better judgment, Kuda says, well, let's ride into it and see how far we can get. Okay, unbeknownst to me, there's really nothing between Schenectady and, what was the name of that? Binghamton. And, so we get on the bikes and we start riding into the rain, and we're, you know, got rain gear on and we're good, and it really wasn't pouring that bad, right? At the start. Then we got to get really going, and it's pouring now, right? And this is 6 hours, right? 6 hours west. Let's see how far we get. Okay. So now this is the end of June, mind you, and it is 55 degrees out and raining. And if anybody's ever been there, you know that can be a little shitty, right? So we're going, and finally we turned down 81, and we're coming into Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and now it is storming, right? Storming bad. And Kuda, where we're going down 81, we're like, okay, there's got to be hotels and stuff here. We were all miserable. It was Kuda and his, at the time, girlfriend, and just me. So we finally pull off. He broke his brake linkage on his Dyna, and all three of us were soaked through to the bone. So we get down into town there, and we go into this hotel, and we're just sloshing, squishing across this lobby. We go over to the counter, and we're like, hey, we need 2 rooms for the night. And the lady behind the counter, my heart never dropped so fast. She said, hey, Kid Rock's playing at the Mount, and there are no more rooms left. And the three of us just kind of looked at each other, and I said, I'm not getting back on that effing bike. And just then, there was this lady standing there, and she said, well, I think my wedding party's all here, and we have 1 double room left over. I don't know where this angel came from, but she was certainly sent by God. So we got the last double room in the hotel, and we get in there, and we get changed into some dry clothes, we go to dinner, we eat, blah, 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 spend the night. Get up the next morning, I get on the road early. So I get out, I get on the road, and my battery's a little weird, right? It's not really, it's not starting easy. So, well, I had a bad ground, blah, blah, blah. So I get home from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Deltona, about 3 hours, right? Get home, park the bike in the driveway. Now, this story preludes the bike burning down that I already told in my short. So I get home, I put the bike in the driveway, I let it sit for a week, had work and other life stuff, right? And it just sat there. That Saturday, the wife and kids went somewhere, and I was there by myself, so I thought, well, there's something clunking around in the primary. I want to pull it in the basement and see what's going on. So I pull it in, pulled the primary off. One of the bolts had backed out. That was banging around in there, and that's not a good thing. So put it all back together, lock it all down. This is the important part that saved my butt. Put it all back together. Didn't want to go anywhere, because like I said, that battery was a little wonky, and I didn't want to get stranded. So I backed the bike outside and let it sit on the cement pad. It could sit there for, you know, forever, for whenever. And I went upstairs and kind of relaxed. It was a nice afternoon. I was just watching some TV or something, and was eating those chips, and that's where you see that chip with a cross burned into it. And didn't think anything of it. A couple hours later, wife and the girls come home, and we're sitting there, and I had a really funny feeling. And my wife, who's little, she got to shine a little bit. She didn't feel right either. And I'm like, what's going on? So she gets up and goes out in the kitchen and looks, and she says, oh my God, your bike's on fire. So I spring into action, right? And it was just starting to burn above the dashboard, right, above the windshield. So I go racing downstairs, and even by the time I got downstairs and got to the door, it was engulfed, right? And that's, if you look at that short, and then one of the images, there's a little stream of water shooting out from the door, because I didn't want the thing to blow up in my face. I didn't ever experience anything like this. And that garden hose wasn't touching shit. So, so we're panicking. Nothing's going on. I don't have a good fire extinguisher. I'm standing there watching the bike burn to the ground. I mean, the fairing just melts, right? And it's just, everything's gone. And a little bit, fire whistle goes off. A little bit later, Logan Township Police, they show up. And he comes over with the fire extinguisher, puts it out. And we're just in shock, right? I've had this bike for 7 years. It was my buddy, you know. It wasn't my girlfriend. I didn't name it a girl's name. But it was my party buddy. We went to strip clubs together. We went bar hopping together. We had a good time together. Did some trips. And I was absolutely heartbroken. It was like losing a pet, you know. And after that was all said and done, and it melted the siding on the side of the house, it was horrible. After it was all said and done, we're standing there looking at it, and the GD relay is clicking. Click, 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 click. I couldn't believe it. This thing, it was like dying, right? So I finally get in close, and I disconnected the battery, and it was dead. And you saw the picture, and I got more pictures of that. I'll post a couple here in this story, the aftermath. And so I just wanted to prelude a story that matched the short about fires and the importance of, you know, fire safety. Now, this was no one's fault. It wasn't anything I did. This bike it's a used bike when I bought it, and I think somebody was in that key switch, and that's the hot part, right? That key switch gets direct 12 volts right from your battery, right? And I think something shorted out in that switch and just started to fire. And then once it hit that gas tank, buddy, it was all over. I found the metal dash that comes down from your gas cap on a bagger bike, or almost any bike really, melted. This aluminum melted down over the starter underneath the seat. That's how hot that fire was. I never experienced anything that hot in my life. So, word to the wise, you know, be careful what you do. And I just got lucky here, because if that bike would have been in the house, and even at night, if that would have happened at night while I had it in there, it'd have burned the house to the ground and probably killed all four of us. No shit. So always be mindful, always be careful, and make sure you have a good fire extinguisher sitting around. Well, until next time, folks, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and I hope to see more from all of you. And we'll catch you next time.